Welcome to Embrace the Spiritual Podcast. Join friends Michelle and Dawn as they share tips on how you too can open your heart, raise your vibration, and reclaim your sovereignty. Hear what they have experienced and overcome in their spiritual journeys while navigating this expansive spiritual multiverse. Discover how they transform their soul lessons from ordinary into extraordinary.
Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual on all podcast streaming services, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Go to embracethespiritual.com for additional content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression or raw Reiki session, contact Dawn on her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com, and Michelle on her website at energeticembrace.com. Alrighty, welcome back to our last episode, number 13, Lucky 13 in season 2. Wow, what an amazing season we've had for topics. We've had everything from spiritual growth, manifesting, dreams, Akashic records. Wow, the Akashic records. We'll talk about that in a minute. We've talked about setting and clearing sacred spaces. We've given you 2 episodes on spiritual signs. We've done earth healing, things that we can do around our day-to-day home and things that we can do while we're traveling, and heart discernment. Wow, what an important thing to live your everyday life with. And our episode right before this, advanced spiritual tools, there's some new things we haven't talked about, so make sure you listen to that. And Dawn, what was one of your favorite things that we talked about this season?
My goodness, there are so many. It's so hard to pinpoint because it's like, oh, I like that one and I like that one. It's like, I want to say Akashic records, but I also want to say the, earth healing, because we've done so much for the earth. So it's kind of like, can we do like an Akashic earth healings? Can we say that?
Sure, we can say whatever.
Good. So yeah, I would say it was like Akashic records, and because I guess technically when we do our earth healing, we are technically going into the Earth's Akashic records and helping her heal all those timelines and stuff where it was been stuck in a negative timeline or negative things happening. And that's just so important for right now. We are leaving those things behind and we are stepping into they're just saying a new storyline, a new timeline. That the old stuff we're going to forgive. We will not forget, but it's time to move on. Like, we are creating new things. And do you want to remember like what Uncle whatever did 10 years ago? No, we love him. We, thank him for being with us, but let's move on. And that's what we have to do now. It's living in that resentment and that anger does not fit anyone.
Absolutely. And when we can see a situation from that observer role, it benefits everybody because we're truly here to learn soul lessons. And we all have different lessons. Some of us have similar lessons, which is why we're working together and, doing things like this podcast. So you'll always come together with your soul group. I agree. Akashic records are just so fun. I love getting in there. It's not a typical reading that you might get from a card reading. It is specific to you. It is your records. And what better thing to learn from is your own Akashic team. Dreams is another one. I dreamed so vividly last night. Oh man, my dream was so vivid. If more people utilize their dream time to explore, have fun exploring your dreams, remembering your dreams, documenting your dreams, look back at how far you've come. Like all of these things, manifesting. We've given you lots of tools that in our last one, even one that we talked about, really what we're working towards through season 1 and season 2 is clearing some of that old energy, being more aware and present in everything that you're doing. And leveling up. Every time we learn lessons, we're leveling up energetically. And when you level up energetically, things like manifesting become easier. So it's not this magical formula. It's just work. And we have to be willing to look at ourselves in the mirror, what's being reflected back to us that we just talked about, and be willing to be humble and love yourself enough to change. I think that's the key. Really, when we're willing to change, and look at ourselves and heal, that is a sign of self-care and love. You're just assisting your soul growth and ultimately helping the collective. Because when we can all work on ourselves individually and heal that shadow work and learn from it, we are helping the collective. When we help the collective, we're healing Mother Earth. We are doing that energy work everywhere we go. We're more conscious. So I think it is hard to pick which one of our favorite episodes because they're all linked together so intricately. And when you become more present, you can see that it is all connected. Lifting the veil of our inverted world. I know season 3 is going to be a lot more of that. We were just kind of, I think, dropping that little seed, if that's a new concept to you, about us living in an inverted world. Maybe you've heard about the Matrix. We're going to explore that more, so I'm not going to talk too much about it right now. But that one, I would say I'm excited about because season 3, people, buckle up because we are taking it next level.
Yes. And as you're speaking, it's like, oh, yes, I love that. And I love that. And it reminds me, I love being in the moment more. So from this past season, I guess I can say I love each and every episode that we did and in the moment. And really in the retreats, it's being in the moment, not like being like, oh, how's my husband doing? How are my children doing? This, that. It is being in the moment and being present with the people that you are with. And when we do the podcast, it is being with Michelle, talking about what needs to be spoken in that time and space and concentrating on it. Because it is really hard sometimes to concentrate on stuff, especially when you have a spiritual team who's like, you know, and my crystals are talking to me and they're like, well, what about this? What about this? Don't forget us. Or the angels, you know, we took a bathroom break in between and they're like, well, don't forget us. We need to be mentioned. I'm like, okay, guys, like, you know, I understand you all want, you know, and they're not coming from the ego. They're just like, make sure you point out that we are all part of this and they don't want to be forgotten either. So remember, we're all important. We are all needed in this time and space. And if you don't feel like you're supposed to be here, believe me, we really need you to be here listening to us at this time and space because we're just going to keep growing together. And I hope you are enjoying each and every episode like we enjoyed recording them because we're just so grateful for all our listeners. We love you. Come and get certified. Join us at a retreat. We would love to meet you. It would just be so magical. I know the retreats are magical, but when we all come together, the energy just grows and builds.
I agree that connecting with listeners is amazing. I had talked to 2 friends just yesterday, I believe, that listened to the podcast. And I said, hey, like, what else do you want us to talk about? And we don't hear enough from our listeners. We want to hear from you. This podcast is for you. We're sharing what we feel the collective needs as information in the moment. That's why we're really present when we're doing these podcast recordings and channelings. But we want to hear from you. If you want to go to our website, embracethespiritual.com, we've got a contact us form that you could submit an idea for maybe a theme, maybe there's something that has several aspects to it that we could discuss on an episode. Or if you have specific questions, hey, you want to shout out and have your question answered by us on a podcast, we'd love to hear about it. Social media, send us a DM on our Embrace the Spiritual Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're there. We see the messages and let us know what you want to hear because it's for all of us. This is not just us imparting our wisdom. We're sharing our experiences. It's not just one way because things are going to work differently for other people and everyone's at a different place in their spiritual journey and growth. And sometimes, even if we are further down the path in our spiritual growth, we need the reminders of the basics. So nothing is off the table. Well, maybe some things are off the table, but for the most part, we are looking forward to covering topics that are going to expand your mind, expand your heart, and hopefully shift your paradigm. Because when we get too comfortable and settled in whatever situation we're in, we are not growing and energetically is not good for us. As Dawn was saying, you know, we step out and take bathroom breaks and our crystals are talking and our guides and angels. It hurts them on an energetic level when they can see because they can't interfere. Free will, we need to ask for their help as a reminder, is when they can see what's playing out, they can see the timelines. They're here to love us. They're never going to judge us. So that's a human ego thing, is judgment. So don't allow that. Don't ever think that they're judging us by any means. They're here to love us and assist us on our journey. So shout out to our guides and angels and the crystals and all of these sentient beings that have consciousness and have energy. And noticing that around us is a way to give them gratitude. When we acknowledge that they're talking to us and we listen, when we listen to those little nudges, like we talked about in our Healing the Earth While Traveling, we listen to those nudges of stopping at a second rest stop, even though we had just stopped, 20 minutes, 30 minutes before that. We listen to those nudges because several of us were getting nudges. We didn't want to do a disservice by ignoring that, because we've, in human ways, knew we had to be at a certain place at a certain time. Everything's fluid. We're the ones that put the structure to it, but we have the power to shift that.
Exactly. We follow the clock because that's what we're told to. What if we got rid of the clocks and we just did what we wanted to when we felt it? Think about how much more healing we would get done. I mean, if we hadn't stopped at that second rest stop, we would have missed like that whole entire section of the Tennessee River. And it wasn't meant to be that way. So I'm super glad that the other driver and I had conferred, like, yes, we're going to stop. And, and dreams. Oh my goodness. My dreams from that last retreat have been so intense. And the healing I know that I've been doing in the dream realm is like crazy busy. And sometimes I wake up and I go, I know I had that dream, but I don't understand why I had that dream, because it's like multiple dream layers. So, and dreams are just so much fun because you never know where you're going to go. You never know how you're going to get there. But then you're like, oh, I get it now. Like, especially like when you have a dream and you're like, I don't get that one. But then a couple days later, you're like, oh, that dream makes so much more sense now that I had that one. So that was another fun episode, because your dreams are like ever evolving. Benevolent mystical creatures are saying, just like we are too, the creatures that have been coming to me are just phenomenal. And, we're used to like griffins, Pegasus. There are so many creatures out there that are way different, that are more like Harry Potter and benevolent, not the, dark stuff, that want to be known, want to be heard. Because when we help ourselves, we're helping other parts of the universe heal. And we are giving them the gift to true freedom, which they have not been able to experience. So as we awaken as a planet, we are awakening other planets and universes with us.
So just know that's maybe some hints for some season 3 topics that are coming. So make sure you stay tuned. Season 3 is going to be magical. We're going to be talking, we haven't even talked about the episodes that we're going to be sharing, but you know what? We go with the flow and whatever's coming up.
I was going to say, and how many times did we say we're going to do these? And then it was like, you know what? No, like we had to change it last minute because we just felt the energy it was needed at the time. Like there was multiple times when we had plans and we had to shift it for the collective, because we're not here for us. We're here for the collective.
Absolutely. And that's what I think I love the most about doing this podcast is, yes, we sat down and brainstormed over all the topics we potentially could talk about. And we've covered so much, but it truly is in the moment. We're feeling in the moment. This isn't some prescribed checklist of things that we feel we need to cover with you. It's because a lot of people that are putting up podcasts that are, spiritual teachers and whatnot, they have a pretty scripted list of topics that they're covering. And sadly, usually a lot of it is self-serving about them sharing how much knowledge they have. Not us. We're open. We want to hear from you guys what you want to learn about. And we'll do our best to cover those topics with what we know. But I know timelines. We've talked a lot about timelines, magical creatures. There's so much more to explore. And these are worthy of having a full podcast episode discussing them. Magical creatures are so many, like Dawn said, things that are in fairy tales. They're not fairy tales. I'll leave it at that. You got to stay tuned for season 3, because I don't know when we're going to talk about, but we will talk about it. So, wow. What an amazing season. I love the gift of how we do these episodes because it is that reminder for us as well. And usually things come up through the episodes that maybe there's a piece that we still need to work on ourselves. We're not done. We've said this before. We're not done in our growth. And if you ever feel like you're done, what are you doing here? Honestly, because that's boring. Like, come on. You don't want to be sitting around twiddling your thumbs. You want to be doing new things. Why not take on traveling and healing Mother Earth? Lots of people love to travel. Why not add that extra element that you can just leave that little seed of extra energy in a place? What a beautiful gift. We are all beautiful gifts, and it's time that you recognize that within yourself. And that's really what we want to share in every episode is it is all about your self-care, your self-love, your self-healing. What are those common self? If we can get to that part in ourselves, we're ultimately helping the people around us as well.
And as we plant the seeds in you, we want you to go out and plant the seeds wherever you go. Share. Knowledge is power. We're empowering you to empower other people. It is all this is the time. What are you doing?
And if you're not sure where to start, have an Akashic reading with Dawn or I. It's a great way to maybe find that direction that you've been looking for. And if your records and your team is ready to share that with you, if you're truly ready to accept those next steps, it will be unveiled to you. It's there for the taking, and they're doing it with love.
We just want to thank you again so much for this beautiful season. We have grown so much, and we're looking forward to growing with you in season 3. Voluvia.
Buckle up as we start season 3 on January 5th, 2024. It is going to be a year of magic. Follow, subscribe, and share Embrace the Spiritual on all podcast streaming services, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Go to embracethespiritual.com for additional content and a list of upcoming episodes. To book an aura regression or raw Reiki session, contact Dawn on her website, alchemy-sacredsound.com, and Michelle on her website at energeticembrace.com.
Infinite love and gratitude. Thank you for joining us.